I can describe this 2 Minute Tuesday with just 3 letters. PFG. If you watched my bourbon journey story, one of the things I talked about when I went to Kentucky was how I fell in love with Michters. And as you can see, I tater pretty hard. But I also love just a lot of the baseline Michters. And very recently, I got a hold of Bombergers. PFG. Precision Fine Grain. Bomberger's typically is released at 108 proof and is aged using a different type of oak, chinkapin oak. To me, that gives this fantastic blackberry jam sweetness note up front, and then as it gets toward the mid and finish portions of the palate, you get the wonderful influence from how Michter's does their voodoo witchcraft with seasoning their wood and the oak influence that comes from their barrels. PFG is a little different. It's only 102 proof, interesting number, but more importantly, instead of the chinkapin oak, they're replacing it with specially selected fine grain French oak. We don't even need to crack this for you to see the color. Look at the color on this thing already, right? So, that being said, I've been pretty excited for this release. I'm a big fan of Bombergers. Let's see, how does PFG stack up? I've had this bottle for 2 weeks, and I have been itching to get into it. Let's get it poured and rested, then we'll get into our notes. First off, let's talk color. This is just beautiful, beautiful color on this whiskey. Let's get in the nose. Bottle, this is a cologne. There's definitely this beautiful oak influence in the nose, but there's also a lovely kind of, I think stewed cherry. Something you've cooked down, you're trying to create some kind of sauce. It's just got this amazing deep sweetness and oak influence. There's a little touch of what smells like chocolate, honestly. I don't know how to better describe this other than a kind of almost perfumey note. Man, I'm almost scared for the palate. Dude, what? Holy. First thing I get, the top of a creme brulee, that caramelized, crystallized sugar, that right up front, some beautiful sweetness, goes into kind of a little bit of cherry, and like I said, kind of cooked cherry, you're doing kind of a syrupy sauce. I'm talking more something you'd serve with duck or some other kind of similar savory dish. Good lord, this is, I'm at least a minute into this first sip, and I still can taste it right through here. Feel that little bit of warmth. There's almost no ethanol. It doesn't burn you. It just lights up the palate with so much flavor. I don't know how old this whiskey is, but man, it tastes like it is at least 12 to 14 years. Great viscosity, it really does hang on the palate well. It's got a little oiliness to it. Dude, that just that burnt sugar up front, and it gets into that lovely Michter's oak profile. I'm in trouble. I'm in a lot of trouble. Everything that I normally love about Bombergers is kind of flipped on its head, because while it doesn't have that big blackberry jam sweetness that I love in Bombergers, cherry and burnt sugar is just this much darker thing going on. French oak usually hits me in a very vanilla forward way. I don't get any of that with this Precision Fine Grain. There is a little bit toward the back of the palate, a little bit of that kind of darker chocolate note. It's really light. There is definitely this almost cherry cordial thing going on. You just got to get it less sweet and in your face, a lot of the candies are, and a little more binging on savory, and that's what I'm getting out of this, man. It's really impressive. Let's do overall score before I take 20 minutes to evaluate this thing, because I'm already in trouble. This is probably going to sound wild to people, because I've had some monster whiskeys already this year, but I'm giving this a 90. This is pretty close to probably the best Michter's product I've tasted. They need to change that PFG into something else. I see why the secondary on this bottle is 300 plus. I just see it. It's so good. One of the best Michter's 10s I've ever had, and I have one up here, is the 23A. This phenomenal whiskey. Michter's 10 in general, out of 23 and 24, have all been really, really good. I love Bombergers. The barrel strength bourbon is always good, but there's just differences in the profiles of each of these. This PFG has something that's completely different than what I've ever gotten out of any of the other portions of the Michter's profile. Cherry is not a note that I typically get out of Michter's, nor do I get chocolate very often. There's been a few where you have kind of more of the, if you think how bitter chocolate affects your palate, right? I get that more from oak in Michter's, because whatever voodoo witchcraft they do with their seasoning for their barrels, but this bottle's nuts. I see why people are chasing this. And do I think it's going to be Russell's 15 or that amazing Murray Hill Club special release where it's just I feel it's a can't miss if you have an opportunity to get it? Pretty close, honestly, because this is just so different than anything else Michter's, and yet has all the hallmarks in Michter's that I really love that make me gravitate toward it. So that the way that the oak influence happens, that kind of different spice to it where it's not just purely kind of pepper say MGP feels to me. It's just so many good things between the oak influence and whatever Whatever voodoo that they're doing with the precision fine grain, change PFG. That is particularly effing good. That's what that is. That is some incredible whiskey. And up until you get to like the really nonsensical Michters, like I'm talking Michter's 20 or something like that, I've been fortunate enough to try Michter's 20. I haven't tried any other really crazy things, but man, this for 102 lingers a lot longer. No ethanoliness to it at all. Amazing nose. Like turn that into a cologne, a candle, something. I would have that all day long, and especially a candle. I just have that scent in like my bedroom at all times. I'd be a happy boy. I'd be a very happy boy. It like I said, man, it's got all these hallmarks of like this luxuriant dinner at some like Michelin-starred restaurant, combined with all of the wonderful like oak influence things that I love about Michter's whiskey. Yeah, 90, dude. This is some wild whiskey. If you have an opportunity to get this, I think MSRP is about $150 roughly, which is high. I understand for a Bomberger's product and some of the other Michter's products that are out there. Some of the Michter special releases do have higher MSRPs. It's worth it. Try it if you can try it at a bar, anything like that. Please do, because to me, that's the best Bombergers I've ever had, and one of the best Michter's products I've ever had. And I'm a fanboy of Michter's, obviously, by this wall behind me. Yeah. I need this in a candle. Who makes candles and can mimic this? We need to talk. Good Lord, that is just... Yeah, let's set that aside before I just go into awkward moments of silence with this whiskey. It's that good. Anyway, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I've got a lot of stuff planned coming up, a number of different reviews, lots of different products I'm trying to do. As we get closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers, that lofty initial YouTube goal, we'll be doing some giveaways. And number one is this bad boy, H. Taylor Single Barrel. One of my favorite overall whiskeys, period. If I could have the one allocated sipper to have at all times, it's probably E.H. Taylor Single Barrel. Absolutely love that product. I don't want to give one away because I've gotten lucky and found quite a few of them over the last year and a half. So when we hit 1,000 subscribers, that is the first of probably a couple giveaways. E.H. Taylor Single Barrel. So please, please, please subscribe, give the video a like, and let me know in the comments down below. Have you tried the Michter's PFG yet? Have you had a lot of other Michter's products? What's your favorite? Are you a Shanks person? Are you a Bomberger's person? Do you prefer the Michter's Ryes? I know they have a huge following, and they're one of the very few ryes that I love. It should be obvious I've got a couple ryes over here that I will regularly drink Michter's Rye, and I'm normally not a rye drinker. That should say a few things, right? I'd love to hear in the comments down below your thoughts on Michter's. Do you love Michter's? Not like Michter's? Things, whatever it may be. Love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. As always, my friends, thank you so much for watching, and stay awesome. Good Lord.